Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome to another review. And right off the bat, in case people ask, no, I have not seen the new Deadpool. Trailer just didn't interest me, although everyone else is saying it. Just not anytime soon, not for me. So I wanted to stay home this weekend and watch another action movie, Equilibrium from 2002. Now, this is a film directed by Kurt Wimmer, which unfortunately he's only directed 3 films. He did One Man's Justice, aka One Tough Bastard, with Brian Bosworth. Well, he kind of did it, but from what I understand, he was fired early in production, and the producer took over, and I guess the producer really directed most of that, so I don't know if that film can really count. And probably say that this is his first true directing job, and then he did Ultraviolet. And Ultraviolet, I remember not caring for, although I know I've read all the stories about how his vision was fucked with, and whether on IMDb, trivia, and all sorts of other stories about how people were fucked with him over Ultraviolet, that it could have been a lot more than it was. To be honest, Ultraviolet to me is a poor version of this, and then that pretty much killed his directing career because he hasn't directed again. I think he helped write Law Abiding Citizen, which I really enjoy, but his name was also on the credits for the writing, at least on IMDb, for the what was it, I think Total Recall and Point Break remakes. And granted, I did not see the Point Break remake, and I never will. But the Total Recall remake was fucking horrible. So I don't know what's happened with Kurt Wimmer. I wish he would direct a film. Doesn't have to be a copy of this, but get back on the horse again. Or maybe that's not his decision. Maybe someone is saying you're in director jail. You can't be allowed to direct again, which is too bad. Because I think this film alone deserves him more chances. And this film is underrated. I mean, it has a good rating on IMDb, but no one ever talks about Equilibrium. I don't think this got much of a distribution at all. I don't even know this got in the theaters. And got 2 thumbs up from Eber and Roper. Richard Roper, spectacular gun battles and fight scenes. I agree with that. And Kurt Wimmer was also the writer on this. And actually, one of the producers is Jan de Bont, weirdly enough. At least his name's on here, with Lucas Foster. Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat. This is Christian Bale's best film, hands down. I think this is much better than any of the Nolan Batman films. When I look at Nolan Batman films, I see Christian Bale. I'm like, why wasn't it this performance in that? Where's this guy in that movie? Any of those 3? Because it should have been like this. Take this character and give it a little bit more fire, anger if you want. And there you go. I mean, if I look at this film, I'm like, yeah, I could see him as Batman, but then stupid voice, stupid shit. So, I liked American Psycho, okay. Reign of Fire was mediocre. And that wasn't his fault, it's just the film itself was mediocre. Rescue Dawn I never saw. I know he did one when he was a kid, directed by Steven Spielberg. I never saw that one. Something in the Sun, or Fire in the Sun, or I forget what it's called. But yeah, this is easily Christian Bale's best movie. Also have Emily Watson, Taye Diggs, Sean Bean, which yes, he does die, which is sort of kind of a running joke. That usually, not all, but usually when he's in a movie, he dies. Long story short on the plot, we have a totalitarian, I probably said that wrong. We have a world where, because there's been a World War III and we can't afford a World War IV, they have created this cleric, this group of people to stop the ability to feel. And so there's this drug called Prosium 2 to suppress emotion and encourage obedience. So it's kind of a la 1984 or the Pink Floyd music videos, like Another Brick in the Wall, where everybody has to be identical, no emotion, and anything that could ratchet up emotion. I mean, first you gotta take the drug certain intervals during the day, and then otherwise the emotion will be suppressed. And then anything of contraband, paintings. We see that the Mona Lisa painting gets burned, music, mirrors, movies, anything of that nature is just out of there. And I thought the plot was done well. Is they take the 1984, that kind of cold, calculated, emotionless world. You have a very solid performance by Christian Bale. Good supporting cast. Taye Diggs does fine for what he has to do, as does Emily Watson. Yes, even William Fichtner. I can handle him in this movie. A small supporting role. But Christian Bale really carries the ball on this. And also, I gotta mention the style of fighting that pretty much Kurt Wimmer came up with, called gun kata. And think of fighting, but with guns. And I might say, what do you mean? Imagine you have a martial arts guy and he's throwing something, throwing a knife, throwing this. But what if you can do those smooth movements while holding a gun, so that if that person's there, get right on target, boom, and then sort of, if you have two guns, knowing where everyone's at, and precision, smooth movements, fluidity. So it's like, it's original, it's interesting, it brought something new to the table, it was eye-catching, it was fun to watch. And yeah, the action scenes don't go on for 5 minutes, but when they're there, it's imaginative, it's new, it's different, and because it's helped with a solid story and definitely a solid performance. You have a pretty good score by Klaus Badelt. I know that name sounds familiar. Someone in the comments can tell me who that is. But I know that sounds familiar, that composer. I don't know if you worked with Requiem for a Dream? Maybe that, no, that's someone else. Never mind, that's someone else. But anyway, the gun kata is really cool to watch. And it's one that's helped with just a very solid story and a capable performance by the lead actor. And it's not too long of a film. It's an hour and 40-some minutes. I didn't get bored. I mean, the idea, is it the most original? No, but I thought it's well told. And for a small budget, I mean, I assume it's a small budget from Dimension Films making this. I don't know what the budget was for this. I mean, right off the bat, they show how the world is like, and Christian Bale and his partner Sean Bean arrive in the siege, where these people have these paintings as contraband. And like I said, anything that could invoke emotion needs to be getting rid of. And when you take your medicine, so to speak, not only is your emotion suppressed, but you can be more obedient for the father figure. Definitely 1984, the book and the movies 1984 influenced. Where, God, I forgot that guy's name. Sean Pertwee? I want to say that's his name. He's on all these screens saying about how, this is the right thing to do, and how without emotion there will be no war, no murder. And there is no war. There is no, well, to them, no murder. Just when these people are obedient, they're killing people for emotions. It's still murder. So it makes you think a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's still an action film. I didn't feel any pretentiousness. I didn't feel any preaching. Some people may feel differently. I didn't. And Uwe Boll should take notes from this movie, because he had a shitty scene in Alone in the Dark where there's an action scene just with muzzle flashes. And honestly, the RoboCop remake, I think, stole from this movie. Because remember the scene where the RoboCop, RoboFuck face, goes in, is shooting, you mostly see muzzle flashes. They stole that from this fucking movie because, hey, the bad guys are behind there. Christian Bale tells him, okay, you shoot out the lights, you shoot out the lights, I'm gonna kick the door in. He kicks the door in, it's completely dark. People whispering, where is he, where is he? And you just see muzzle flashes, only this is done better. And even though it's dark, you see muzzle flashes, I still understood what was going on. And it's Christian Bale doing these. Now, the first time you see it, some people may think it looks a little bit weird. I remember reading the trivia. I believe that's what Kurt Wimmer wanted for all of them. But another guy who's worked on it says, no, it makes more sense to, I mean, I know you want fluid, but more natural. So, like, the first time you see it, it looks like it's like something almost like a human couldn't do. But it works for that scene, the fact that it's in muzzle flashes to hide that. And just the editing and the angles that the Kurt Wimmer uses. You know, in one shot he's doing this, and it's all lighted by muzzle flashes of the gun. Then it's like this, then it's like this, and then it cuts to people flying back. You see the muzzle flash here, and you see a guy flying back, almost like a first-person shooter video game. And then there you go. Explain it sounds stupid, but I would love to use footage, but copyright are bitches. And even to a point where he does the muzzle flashes and then goes edits from there to guys falling back to muzzle flashes from Christian Bale's point of view. It's just a nicely edited scene. It's completely dark, and then it lights up one more time from the heat of his muzzle of the guns. I thought that was an interesting touch, and then it fades away. Again, I thought that was a really cool, interesting touch to the scene. Like I said, they find the cache of paintings, the Mona Lisa. Without emotion, goes burn it. And like I said, it's a totalitarian. I keep thinking I'm saying that word wrong, but you know what I mean. And we did a little bit of backstory with our lead that a while ago, years ago, his wife was taken and killed because she showed emotion, and you have a superior asking, well, how did that make you feel? And he's like, you know, I didn't feel anything. She was a sex offender. And of course, later on, that jumping ahead, one thing leads to another, he accidentally knocks one of his vials down, and then his suppressed emotions start easing back up. And then by the end, he becomes the savior, the guy to lead the rebels in a way, to kick ass and take names and make a change. But before that, like, he finds Sean Bean reading a book. Again, a nicely done sequence where, you know, Sean Bean has a gun, clicks in. Christian Bale does give him warning, you know, don't. Pulls a gun, and then Sean Bean just, from his point of view, puts the book up he's reading. And then a wide shot where Sean Bean gets killed, and Christian Bale shoots him right through the book. And I thought the way the film looks is well done too. It's this cold world environment when people are in beds. It's completely plain on the beds. There's no covers. There's no color, let alone covers. When he's in his office, everyone has an identical desk. People pretty much dress the same. There's no color. Pretty much a lot of blacks or grays of what they're wearing. He has a son and a daughter, and the son at times is looking at him, and you get a little bit of paranoia of, oh, will the son know that he's not taking his stuff after this, and will his son turn him in? And then I thought there was a nice little thing that they did in the third act, which I'll get to. But for the budget that they used, I thought it looked pretty good. And I know there's a few people that say that this is better than The Matrix. And I can understand that. I really enjoy the Matrix films. One day I would like to review all three of them. And yes, I do enjoy all three. Part of me does lean towards this, only because everyone always talks about the Matrix. I'm kind of the guy that likes to go for the underdog. And like everyone talks about the Matrix. Although I feel the sequels aren't as bad as people say, that's just my opinion. I saw those films in the theaters, had a good time. But this film doesn't get talked about a lot. I lean more towards this, and it's just, I don't really have any problems with this. I really don't have any problems with The Matrix, to be honest. The sequels have their little problems. I don't feel like little, yeah, to me. Not to you, but to me. But Equilibrium, again, I'm sort of the guy that leans more towards the underdogs, and Equilibrium is definitely that. It didn't get a fair shake. I don't know what happened. I bet if this was released, I wonder if this was released after Batman Begins, then maybe they would have given it a fair shot in theaters. But of course, this came out in, like I said, 2002. Batman Begins was what, 2005? So, but this deserved a lot more than it got. It's people may not say it's underrated because it has some good notices from reviews. Well, not Rotten Tomatoes. They gave like a 38%. Fuck that site. But I'm talking about IMDb has a pretty good rating. But I would still say it's underrated because no one ever talks about when Christian Bale, they always talk about Batman, 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 Batman. I mean, I'm like, Equilibrium, Equilibrium, Equilibrium. The gun kata is more my thing than... That's just my opinion. Here, he sounds fucking normal. Even when he's supposed to be emotionless, he has more... He sounds better than fucking as Batman. I'm like, why didn't you just use the voice when you're emotionless in this film for your Batman voice? Well, what if people recognize him? It's a fucking movie where he's dressed as a bat. Are we really going for realism? He's dressed as a bat. No one would fucking do that unless it's a fucking party. Cosplay or Comic-Con. Okay. We have a guy, I mean, that's not that. I like this much more than those movies. This film deserved a lot more. That's just me. And I like this character more. I like when he's realizing his feelings, his emotions, and stuff builds up. Like he sees the sunrise and touches the window, and there's stuff on the window. And he scratches down and sees the view. During a raid, he finds a hidden room that's colorful and has music. It's playing Beethoven, and there's this woman that they've gotten who he finds out was Sean Bean's lover, and grows an emotional connection with her. And then by the time when she has to be killed, and she knows by this point now he has changed. Like she understands his position, and Christian Bale tries the best that he can, but he can't save her from being burned alive. And if you wonder, Taye Diggs is a guy who becomes his new partner. He's a guy who's watching him at his every step. And you get the idea that maybe he wants to replace Christian Bale as the sort of golden boy cleric, so to speak. And his build-up. During a raid, he gets blood on his hands, and he looks at it for the first time, as if he's seen it for the first time. There's a scene where the dogs have to be exterminated. He doesn't participate. He watches, and you see the emotion on his face of what's going on here. And a puppy escapes, and he hides it, and later on he comes back. And really cute dog, too. Really cute puppy. Well trained. I mean, I forget what the actual breed... They say on IMDb what kind of dog it is. It's a good-looking dog, though. Good-looking. You know, it's cute. It's cute, but it's not puke-inducing. It's not like, oh my god, it's a dog. No, this is how you do it the right way. Kind of like John Wick. This is how you do it the right way with a puppy. I don't think it's cheesy. Although I hate the fucking word cheesy anyway. Cheesy to go in fucking dirt to die. The fucking word can go back to hell, 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 as Emilio Estevez would say. And that's the scene where some guys arrive and he fucks their shit up. And again, when the action scenes are there, they're well handled. Two guys with shotguns. He does this, turns the shotguns, shoots them both right in the fucking face. Has these guns that shoot up, jumps on a motorcycle, flips, shoots both right at the same time, kicking ass, and then there's a bunch of guys around them, and just ponies. I'm not doing it justice, but it's like, wow, that's cool, it's different, but it's a good different. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's good. This is different and good. It's original, it's interesting. I don't see that in many films. I don't even know if many films after it. I think Kurt Wimmer tried to do some in Ultraviolet. But I don't know if any other movies have done that. I mean, I don't know if I call John Wick doing that. That's more of him just being a good aim. But yeah, not many people do gun kata anymore. I'd like to see that again, because you see so many other shit. Do more gun kata movies. Maybe there are, and I just have forgotten or can't think of them off the top of my head. But he pulls their ass. There's a scene with Taye Diggs where he's training, and because his emotions are riling up in his head, he doesn't do as good as he can, but he still does good enough. And this has a good payoff later, which I'll mention. Really good payoff. But there's another raid on different people. See some guys. Hey, follow me. And there's some guards, and they have helmets that kind of look like motorcycle helmets in a way. And really well edited. I think it's well edited because I understood what was going on. I didn't see any shaky cam. He pulls these guys, breaking a wrist, just breaking an arm, badass style. He takes his guns, and then on the ends of his guns, where you put the clip in, this thing pops up with looks like nails, or what you call studs, nails, and just hit him in the face. And sometimes when you hit him in the face, you see a big thing of blood, practical blood, and just poning and kicking their ass, taking names. And like, oh shit, just beats the living fuck out of them and kills their ass. But this film also has some good emotion too, because those guys they tried to help, they got led into a trap from Taye Diggs. And even Christian Bale was thinking of taking them all on, and he turns, and the guy looks, and one of the guys on the firing line, goes, no. You keep on, sort of a silent agreement, keep on fighting the fight. Don't get killed when the resistance could use you. But you don't need words. You got it from just a simple look. That's done right. That's how you do it. I don't know what the fuck happened to Kurt Wimmer. Because they fought. Ultraviolet wasn't that good of a movie, but I don't think he deserved to kill his career of directing. That's just me. And he's fucking writing shitty remakes. The fuck? Did he seriously not get a job with anything else? Pretty much one thing leads to another. He meets William Fichtner, who's the leader of this resistance, the rebels, and I say that I think of the last Star Wars movie. Fuck, this is better than The Force Awakens. The fuck Awakens. And yes, I'm saying that because some people still to this day get pissed off at my opinion. It's my opinion. I'd rather watch Equilibrium and Gun Kata kicking ass than the fuck me Awakens. The fucking shitters awaken. But anyway, getting off track. Like I always do. Pretty much the plan is, you pretend like you've gotten us, you've captured us, so you can get a meeting with the lead god, the father figure. He does that, but then on the flip side, they were using it as a ruse to get the resistance and have Christian Bale where they want him. And Sean Pertwee, he's not really the father. That guy died long ago. It's really the asshole, that superior that he's seen throughout. And before that, I was talking about with the kid, before that you find a nice thing where they went to Christian Bale's home to make sure everything's okay. And the vials he had been hiding that he's supposed to be taking, and he looks and they're gone. And his son comes up and shows him, hey, I have these things here. You should hide them in a better place. And he's like, well, how long have you... And he's like, ever since Mom died. And that he's had to hide this from his dad for so long. And even from not too many words, you get the sense, okay, now this son can, feel relieved in front of his father. But it's not done cheesy or sappy, and it's done with few words, but you get all the intention that you need. Especially when Christian Bale goes, what was it? Then you know what I'm going to do now. And then the son looks and smiles. Yeah, he's going to kick the shit out of everybody. And then after all that stuff happens, and they're talking, he's like, oh, thank you, you've given me yourself entirely without incident. And his emotions are raging, they got him on a polygraph, and all of a sudden it's flatline. He's back to his stone cold killer persona. If a guy goes, oh shit, and Christian Bale goes, no, not without incident. And just pulls everybody. And then goes in and just badass action scene. The gunshot in that scene. Then you have this big hallway firefight where he throws some cartridges down that has a round cylinder thing so that the cartridge is standing up so he can get them down and get more bullets later. Just pulling everybody. Here's two guys, hits the machine gun, goes in. There's more bad guys with Taye Diggs and a bunch of guys with swords. And he gets a sword, just slashing them up, fucking them. Taye Diggs. Now this is the stone cold, no emotion killer that you're going after, Taye Diggs. It takes him on like 30 seconds. Cuts his fucking face off. See, that's a face off I prefer over face off. And then has a gun kata fight with the leader and going back and forth. It's like a fist fight, but with guns trying to get on target. And the bad guy says something like, is that a price you don't pay? I pay it dearly. No, I don't think, I think I fucked up the lines like, I'd gladly pay it. And even more badass, with the broadcast, he stops the broadcasting where there's all these TVs, he just goes in, just shooting all the TVs, like, and at that point, now that the leader is off broadcast and dead, the resistance blow up facilities that have the drug in order to stop it for at least one day so that people will feel emotion, make a change. So, a good story about an emotionless society. Sort of for me, a version I prefer over 1984. 1984 is very depressing. It shows that nothing can change. This shows that something can change. In a future where freedom is outlawed, outlaws will become heroes. And Christian Bale will become kick-ass. Just a badass movie. Equilibrium is a badass movie. When the action's there, it works very well. The emotion works as well. The score supports the film. I enjoy the story. I thought the directing by Kurt Wimmer, again, this is really his first truly full force directing job. I mean, the Brian Bosworth film, he got fired early. Here, he's written it, he's directed it all the way through, and just this film alone, it should give him more chances. It should give him more jobs. Equilibrium. But again, no one talks about this film. And this is one of the things I want to do on my channel, is talk about movies like this that deserve it. And I know I'm not the only fan, because you look up tributes, and I've seen quite a few tributes of this film. You'll find a shitload of tributes for Equilibrium. And again, it has a good rating on IMDb. I posted that I was going to review this on Facebook. A lot of people mentioned about how they liked this film. Again, my favorite Christian Bale movie. Extremely well done, solid story, action, a new breath of fresh air of an action scene with the gun kata stuff. But it's also, I know I mentioned before, I'll mention it again, you still have a solid story on top of that. And Christian Bale, I would say, my favorite performance, my favorite acting job from him, my favorite character. And the features, you just have two commentaries. One with Kurt Wimmer by himself, one with Kurt Wimmer and producer Lucas Foster, and then you have Finding Equilibrium, which it's a little thing. It'd be nice to see a newer edition of this, maybe with new interviews, maybe Christian Bale, ask him. See, I wish someone would ask him about this movie, because I bet no one is ever talking to him about this. About whatever wars film he's trying to go into, or Batman, Nolan. I'd like to hear some thoughts on this. Anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you later.